Hi, this is Anthony. Welcome back to my show. This is not investing information or advice, it's just entertainment. My whole goal is just to put on your radar some stocks that you might want to look at or some that you might want to avoid. But remember, you need to do your own research to make sure that it's the right thing for you. And that's assuming that you're investing in the stock market, which I think that everybody in most industrialized countries such as the United States should probably do, but only after you pay down your high interest credit card debt if you have any. Okay, so I just came across on the news feed on my phone an article that listed three fallen dividend aristocrats, as it termed them, that are poised to have 100% rebound. Okay, we'll see if that is going to be the case. So the first one is Becton Dickinson. Very boring name, and sometimes you can make a lot of money with boring stocks that go up and to the right on charts and pay a nice dividend. Okay, and this is a company that is involved in medical technology, manufactures and sells medical devices, instruments, and so on. I'll have some information from Wikipedia about the company in the show notes. The stock market was up today. This one was down. 5 days, it's down. 1 month, it's down. 6 months, it's down 12%. Year to date, down almost 20%. 1 year, down 23.5%. Oh, come on. After 5 years, it's still down 20%. Although for much of that time, it was flat. And then Max, of course, if you go back to 1985, it is up 5,000%. But if you notice here, it's flat lines for a long time. From here to here, no growth. From here to here, no growth. You do have a period of growth here, and then for the most part, it's flat, a lot of spikes, and then down. It does pay a quarterly dividend, which comes to an annualized yield of 2.29%. It's price to earnings ratio, so it is making money, even though the price is going down. So let's think about this. Why would you want to invest in a company that for 5 years, 1 year, year to date, 6 months, 1 month, 5 days, 1 day is down, even though you're getting the slight dividend? Let's take a look at the S&P 500. Okay, this is the top 500 stocks in the United States. Just because it's in the United States doesn't mean that it's not a multinational. These companies do business in every country in the world, except for North Korea and Cuba, probably. Okay, 1 day, it's up. 5 days, up. 1 month, it's up. 6 months, it's up. Year to date, it's up. 52 weeks, it's up. 5 years, it's up. And Max, going back to 1993, up 1,465%. Take a look back here. So Becton Dickinson started earlier on this chart, up more, but every other time period that I compared here, that you can easily compare, the S&P 500 is just doing better. What's the dividend yield? Okay, so the dividend yield on the S&P 500 is approximately 1.06 to 1.10, going back to Becton Dickinson. So the dividend yield for this company is twice the dividend that you'd be getting for the S&P 500. But of course, you'd be, in most time periods doing so much better. Okay, so let's look at the next one. Brown & Brown. This is a company that I've looked at before. I thought about putting some money into it. I had a little bit of cash left over in my Roth IRA. I decided not to go with this one. I went with another one that I've made money on. But this is an insurance brokerage firm. I'll have information about this. And these companies are old ones. This one's almost 100 years old. The other one was started in 1897, I believe. So 1 day it's down, 5 days down 10%. 1 month down 13%, 25% down in 6 months, year to date down 20%, 1 year down 23%. I'm glad I didn't invest in this. It is up 84% in the past 5 years. Let's take a look. 5 years for the S&P 500. The S&P 500 would have beat Brown and Brown. And then Max. This goes back to 1985. You're up 38,000%. Okay, if you would have bought it back then. Although, look at this. You know, you'd have had 15 years of almost no growth. And then from 2006, where it was 15 bucks, 10 years later, you wouldn't have grown other than the dividend, which is less than 1%. Okay, so you're getting a smaller dividend than the dividend that's being paid by the S&P 500 ETF. Okay, probably no reason to get into this, especially with it, aimed down. Let's see if it's making any money. It is making some money. I mean, you can keep an eye on it, but I would be very cautious at this point putting money. Let's see what the next one is. FactSet Research Systems, not a household name. Okay, one day when the market was up, it was down 7.5%. 5 days down almost 8%. 1 month down over 8%. 6 months down 37.75%. Year to date down almost 44%. 52 weeks, 42% down. 5 years, you are down nearly 13% total. And Max, again, when you have a company that still exists that was started in 1996, you're probably going to be up. Has a 1.65% dividend yield, so slightly above what you would make in an S&P 500 mutual fund. And again, in 5 years, you're down almost 13% with this company. In 5 years, you'd be up 110.5% plus the dividend. Doesn't show there, but we already looked that up. Okay, I'm going to stop here. Each of those 3 companies do not look necessarily like winners to me. I wouldn't even put them on my radar to investigate. They look pretty bad. There's so much more. And if you don't want to put in the research, and again, this is not advice, but for long-term investors, you could probably just put your money in the S&P 500. You have 500 companies in it. If a company is bad, it gets removed and replaced by a better one. You're better off that way. Love to hear from you. Leave a comment. I respond to them eventually. I do read them all. Hit subscribe, follow, and we'll talk to you later. Thank you so much. I really do appreciate your time. And check out my other videos.